Hey, what's up, everybody? So, coming this afternoon with the recap of the Charlo Brothers pay-per-view card. We're going to go top to bottom, just look at the winners and how impressive it was. Again, I will be doing what's next on most of these guys, coming next week. But let's jump into the pay-per-view card first. The first fight, Casiermo, I think he's from the Philippines, got a nice win at 118. Again, remember, I really don't talk about anything under 122. I know the monster Inoue is down there, but outside of him, there's not a lot of big names outside of Nonito Donaire. So, if that division gets more prominent, I'll talk about it more. But Casiermo had a nice win. Now, the other undercard fights, the co-feature that was on before the intermission, before the Charlo and Derevyanchenko fight, I believe that was Brandon Figueroa. He took on little-known Damian Vasquez. And Vasquez, early on looked decent, but Figueroa was just a mismatch. He outworked him and just shut him down, dominated him. And I believe it was a 10th round stoppage win. He just broke him down. I mean, he was just outclassed. It wasn't, these two guys weren't in the same class. That's pretty much all it is. No surprise, Figueroa won. I thought he would win earlier, but either way, he shook off the rust. Good to get some rounds in. And had a nice win, there. So that's it for him. Decent performance. Not really much to talk about. I was surprised he let it go so long, but he's been out of the ring a long time, so he got him out of there. That's all that matters. Now let's go to the other undercard fights. We want to talk about all the undercard fights before we talk about the two Charlo Brothers fights. I believe it was Daniel Roman against what was the guy's name? Juan Carlos Payano. That ended up being a lot better fight than I thought. Payano was coming up from 118, and Roman, as I said before, this guy was the #1 super bantamweight coming into this year. But this shows you how good and how wide open super bantamweight is. I mean, Roman lost to Murajan Akhmadiev back in January by a close split decision. But that just shows you that guy wasn't ranked in the top 10, how good he is. Shows you how good Juan Carlos Payano is. That he could compete. It was a very good fight. It went to the scorecards where Roman, I believe he took a unanimous decision, but it was very close. You could argue that Payano won the fight. I think the website that I go through, boxingscene.com, had Payano winning. So it was a close, good, hard-fought battle. Roman came in and closed the fight out strong, and that's what ended up being the thing that won him the fight, because I think he won like the 4 or 5 last rounds, at least on the judges' cards. And, that ended up being what won him the fight. So, nice win for Roman. As I said, we'll talk about the what's next for him. And if Payano breaks into the top 10, we'll talk about that when I discuss the what's next week. But the co-feature to the Charlo Rosario fight now saw Luis Neri, the former bantamweight champion, make his debut at super bantamweight as he fought for the vacant WBC title against undefeated but little-known Aaron Alameda. Alameda put up a good fight, but Neri just, I think Neri was probably overlooking him a little bit, but Neri just broke him down. He ended up getting the win. It was somewhat of a close fight. It was a good, hard battle, but Neri just proved he was the better guy. So, really don't know how good he's going to be at 122 yet. We don't know that. But he got the win. He won a world title. It was a harder fight than expected, but again, with these guys fighting so infrequently and COVID and, just everything involved, right now I'm not really judging a lot of these guys' first performances out the gate with the coronavirus, not really judging them too harshly if they don't have an overall impressive victory in their first fight back. So that's all the undercard fights. Let's take a look at the two Charlo Brothers fights now. We start with Jermall Charlo against Sergey Derevyanchenko, since that one was first. Very impressed with Jermall Charlo. He got out of there with a hard-fought but deserving 12-round unanimous decision victory. He had to work hard for it, but he never let Derevyanchenko take over the fight, and that was the impressive thing. Derevyanchenko made it closer towards the middle rounds, but Charlo he did enough damage to where he was able to take over the championship rounds and, the last few rounds as well. And, I was just impressed with him. He did not let Derevyanchenko bully him and take over the fight. He would land a big shot to keep Derevyanchenko off, and I just really thought he was going to succumb to the pressure, and he just didn't. But part of the reason he didn't was the punches that he landed early. They had a lot of effect on Derevyanchenko. They hurt Derevyanchenko, and it was just an impressive performance. It really was. You know, I have to give it to Charlo. Absolutely his best victory, and you know, he just fought. He fought really well. I really thought he fought really well, and he solidified himself right at number 3 right now. You can make an argument for him to be tied with Triple G, but just given their overall last 3 years, because that's what I base guys' resumes off, I'm sorry, Triple G still has a better resume. He went in there, and you can argue that he should be 2-0 against Canelo, the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world. Charlo doesn't have that. So Charlo, though, absolutely proved himself. Great performance, great victory. Got to hand it to him. You know, Derevyanchenko has nothing to hang his head about, but he got soundly beat in this one, and it was an impressive performance. Absolutely the best, probably his widest loss, even though he fought hard. You know, it was the most convincing victory over Derevyanchenko between Jacobs, Triple G, and Charlo. Again, I think Jacobs and Triple G were overlooking Derevyanchenko. Charlo was not. That's a big deal right there. That is a very big deal, everybody. I really think Jacobs and Triple G get Derevyanchenko in a rematch. Different story. You know, different fights. They probably win by wider margins. Not as tough of a fight on either guy. But, you know, we have to measure off of what's there. And Charlo had an impressive performance. So, very, very nice win for him. Biggest of his career. And, you know, he deserves all the accolades. So, I was very impressed. Now, the other main event saw Jermell Charlo and Jason Rosario for the to unify world titles. You know, I think a lot of people were surprised at this fight, and I just really wasn't. I mean, I called a later round stoppage. I know a couple, one of my buddies called that, Von Blue Boxing. Want to throw a shout out to him. Me and him both were in agreement that it'd be a late round stoppage or an impressive decision win, like a one-sided decision. And, you know, I mean, pretty much that's what happened. Charlo broke him down, scored some knockdowns, he did some damage. He's just a better fighter, you know. I knew it coming in, and he broke him down, beat him up, and, you know, yes, was I surprised it ended on a jab to the body? Yeah, but, I mean, he inflicted damage to the body of Rosario, so Rosario was gassed. You know, he got hit with a perfect shot. That happens sometimes. And, you know, I mean, he got hit really hard, you know, and damage was done, and Charlo did great. That was a great performance by Jermell Charlo. I mean, you know, he unified all the belts, left no doubt that at this time, he's the #1 fighter at 154. He's earned that right. Do I think he can beat everybody at 154? No, I still don't. I still think Jarrett Hurd and Charlo, Jarrett Hurd beats him. But Hurd lost last year to Julian J-Rock. And what's his name? Rosario knocked out J-Rock, and Charlo knocked out Rosario. So Charlo holds the key to 154 right now. Everybody's got to go through him. He holds 3 of the 4 belts now. We'll discuss his what's next when we talk about that this weekend coming up, probably Sunday, Monday of this weekend. But overall, the Charlo brothers came out. They got a couple very, very nice wins. Best of their careers. You absolutely can say both of them, without a shadow of a doubt, got their best career wins. And, you know, just overall impressive. I thought we were going to see a Charlo fall, or we were going to see a controversial fight from one of the Charlos. And neither one of them had that happen. They both won convincingly. No arguments. They impressed. Do I believe they're the best? No, but they are better than I expected, than I'd been thinking they were. I will give them that credit. They earned another big notch on the belt of me showing them the respect that they are claiming that they have. I still think they got to fight better, guys. I really do. That's my opinion on them. But we'll get into that with their what's next a little more. But overall, it was a good pay-per-view. I enjoyed it. Some nice fights, some good wins, and impressive performances. So that's the Charlo Brothers pay-per-view recap. I hope you guys enjoyed it. True Boxing, been here with the truth.